This conference will now be recorded.
The special town council meeting of October 10th, 2024, as a hearing for the town of Surfside Beach on the revocation of the business license of Delta Dispensary at 327 Highway 17 North. This hearing is part of the procedure for suspension and revocation of a business license under sections 415 and 16 of the town's business license ordinance. Section 415 of the town's business license ordinance provides for suspension of a business license by the license inspector or business license official based on one or more of 5 listed grounds. The ground involved here is listed as section 15, item E. A licensee has engaged in an unlawful activity or nuisance related to the business. Under section 15, written notice is served on the licensee informing the licensee that the business license is suspended pending a hearing before the town council. The purpose of this hearing before the town council is to determine whether the business license should be revoked. Under section 16 of the business license ordinance, all parties have the right to be represented by counsel, to present testimony and evidence, and to cross-examine witnesses. The hearing is recorded and can be transcribed at the expense of the party requesting the transcription. The town council, by majority vote of the members present, renders a decision based upon findings of fact and the application of the standards set out in the business license ordinance. This written decision is served on the parties or their representatives. The written decision of the town council shall be final unless appealed to the circuit court within 10 days after service. I'm now going to ask the members of town council to introduce themselves for the record, starting at my far left.
My name's Chris Stamey.
Harry Coleman.
Stuart Walls.
Laverne Crecklaw.
Bill Kincaid.
Sean Fallon.
And I'm Mayor Robert Kraus. Similarly, the parties, attorneys, representatives, and witnesses for the town of Surfside Beach.
Jared Bouchette, town attorney, Surfside Beach.
And you're the witnesses as well.
We have 2 witnesses, Sergeant Pinto and Nicole Kinzian.
Thank you. And then the parties, attorneys, and representatives and witnesses for the business licensee.
Mr. Mayor, is anybody present for Delta Dispensary?
Yes, and my husband and son should be pulling up any second.
Okay, ma'am, would you mind just stepping up and stating your name for the record so Madam Court Reporter has it?
Sabrina Papato.
Thank you.
Papato. P-A-P-O-T-T-O.
I guess we'll have to wait a few minutes.
Yeah, Ms. Papato, if your other person comes in, just let us know so we can identify him in the record. Yes, ma'am.
Should I proceed with the guideline? Okay. All right, thank you all very much. I will now cover some additional guidelines for this procedure, including the attorneys or representatives of the parties have the right to cross-examine any witnesses presented by the other side. The mayor and council members have the right to ask questions of the witnesses. The hearing will deal solely with the evidence produced by the town of Surfside Beach related to the business license revocation. Court rules and laws of evidence will not apply except as to privileged matters, but may be considered as a guide toward the full and fair development of the facts. As presiding official, I will rule on, that is, sustain or deny, any objections to testimony or evidence. Town council will consider the evidence presented and give it the weight and effect it determines appropriate. Witnesses will be sworn to tell the truth before beginning testimony. The court reporter will administer the oath. There will be no public comment at any point in this hearing. Are there any questions on these procedures for the hearing from town council? From the town of Surfside Beach?
No, sir.
And we'll, I guess, wait for the business licensee to.
Mr. Mayor, I think we can go ahead and proceed with the first witness.
Very well, then, okay. Let's start with the case for the town business license official. So please call your first witness to testify.
Town's going to call Sergeant Pinto.
You'll raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You put your hand down, state your name for the record,
Sergeant Pinto,
and spell your last name.
P-I-N-T-O.
All right,
Sergeant Pinto, you've got two microphones there. One is for Madam Court Reporter, and the other is for the folks here in the auditorium with us today. First of all, Sergeant Pinto, where are you currently employed?
The Surfside Beach Police Department,
And how long have you been employed at Surfside Beach?
between 8 to 9 years.
All right, at some point, did you initiate an investigation into the Delta dispensary located in town of Surfside Beach?
I did.
Okay. Tell us what prompted that investigation.
So over the course of several years, frequently officers, myself included, have encountered subjects roadside, out in public, where they've been caught with a green leafy substance believed to be marijuana, and they frequently said that they've purchased it from the Delta dispensary. And people will commonly say they've purchased it at different shops, but the Delta dispensary's name has come up more often than others. And that's what prompted me to just walk in there like any citizen could, just to see what they had.
So after numerous encounters where the dispensary. All right, very well. See, so after these initial interactions, you began an investigation?
Yeah.
All right. Tell us what you did at the start of that investigation.
Yeah, so I walked into the business like any citizen. Could do in plain clothes. I purchased what they had advertised to the public. I purchased the substance, green leafy substance, it looked, smelled like marijuana for face value, but I did not act on what I saw. I then put the substance in a testing kit and sent that to SLED for an analysis.
Well, let's talk about when you say you went to the dispensary. Is this a place of business open to the public?
Yes,
Is it open during normal business hours?
it is.
Okay. And you walked in, any other customer during normal business hours?
Yes.
You did not exert your authority as a law enforcement officer in any way?
No.
You said you purchased some items. Were those items which were being freely displayed for sale to the public?
Yes.
And what did you do after you purchased these items the first time?
Yeah, after purchasing these items, we package them in what's called a best kit, and then we send that off to the state laboratory, SLED, and they perform their analysis on it, and then they return results.
And what were the results of the SLED chemical analysis of the samples that you took from the Delta dispensary, or purchased from the Delta dispensary?
The results came back as marijuana. It came back containing marijuana and gave a percentage. So
Now, for the benefit of council that might not be aware, we see Delta 9 and different stores similar to that all around town, all around the community. What is the legal distinction based on your understanding of the law regarding that which crosses over into the illegal marijuana, at least in South Carolina?
yeah, so my understanding was anything over 0.3% would then be considered marijuana. And then I even called SLED to confirm that what we believe to be marijuana, the threshold, and they confirmed that anything over 0.3% would be classified as marijuana and not hemp.
So under the South Carolina Hemp Act, the substance contains more than 0.3% of THC that is deemed to be, in fact, illegal marijuana.
Yeah.
All right. Now, when SLED does a test, do they have sort of a cushion or like a grace range of some kind when they do the testing?
Yeah, so when I spoke to them, the analysis came back as greater than 1%. And I wanted to get them on the phone so they could break it down for me. And they explained to me the reason they do greater than 1%, because they sort of give them a cushion. If something comes back as, let's say, 0.5 or 0.6, something of that, they give them that cushion just in case something is maybe a little higher. So if anything comes back greater than 1%, that means that it's at least 3 times higher than what it could be and classifies as marijuana.
So let's get through. So when you send it to SLED, they only deem it a positive test if it tests above 1%. The
Yes.
legal limit is 0.3%.
Yes.
Now, take us back when you first went in and made that first purchase. What informed your decision about what to purchase? What specifically? What was going on?
Yeah, so I kind of just followed the lead of the customers that were in there. So the customers that walked in, they would ask for flour, and then I would ask for flour. And then there were multiple jars on the back shelf that contained a green substance. These items would be pulled from the jars, put on a digital scale, and then packaged in separate baggies that they had. And there'd be a sticker that was placed on the packaging where they'd write the name and stuff of that nature.
Yeah, let's talk about the packaging. On the packaging, did it have any stickers or representations or something that indicating what it was somebody was purchasing?
Yeah, they had stickers on that represented hemp and that it was in compliance with state and local laws, guidelines.
And ultimately, in that first round, your testing, or the testing that came back from SLED indicated that that was not correct.
Yes, it was significantly higher, and I even asked them to give me the breakdown of it, and the first results came back as 19.4%, which was substantially higher than for something to be considered hemp.
The legal amount's 3%, SLED,
0.3%.
excuse me, 0.3%. SLED deems it a positive test at 1%. Your understanding is that the first sample came back at 18%.
19.4%.
19.4%. Okay, all right. Now, did you make any arrests or seek any warrants at that time?
No, so I wanted to do it again. So I came back roughly 3 weeks later and repeated the same actions that I did initially.
And did you make subsequent purchases?
Yes, then I came back, those results came back for the second purchase. They came back again as marijuana and came back with a greater level of THC. Then I wanted to do a third purchase just to ensure we went back a third time, several weeks later, different batch of stuff, sent it off to SLED for analysis. SLED came back with a third analysis confirming that it is in fact hemp, or in fact marijuana, excuse me, and not hemp. And the levels of THC in this are much greater than for something to be hemp.
Now, in regards when you did the second purchases, again, did you go in during normal business hours?
I did,
This was business was still open to the public at that point?
yes.
Other folks were in there purchasing the same as you?
Yep.
Okay. And what you purchased on the second and third occasion, those were also items that were made available for sale to the public?
Yes, and I actually mimicked their purchase. So if I heard them purchase that, I wanted to purchase the same stuff that the citizens were purchasing.
All right. And so both the second and third purchases came back well in excess of the 1%.
Yes.
Now, how long did this take in total, this investigation?
It took about 3 months, and the reason it takes that long is for the analysis to come back. It's not something that we can just send, and then they send it back to us overnight. It takes several weeks for SLED to perform this analysis and then give us the return.
Now, based on that investigation over the past 3 months, did you come to the belief that criminal activity was being conducted at the Delta dispensary?
Yes, and it was confirmed with the analysis.
And was it your belief, based on your observations from the investigation, that that activity was related to the business being conducted in Surfside Beach? In other words, the Delta dispensary, this was part of what the business was doing, was selling illegal marijuana?
Yes, the packaging that the marijuana was sold in has their logo stamped on.
Now, at some point, based on that, did you seek to make an arrest in this case?
I did.
Now, is that something that you could just do on your own, or did you have to run this by somebody else?
Yeah, no, it's not something that I can just do on my own. So there's checks and balances. So I have to present all of my evidence to our associate judge. It's presented to her, we go over the facts with her, and then she makes a decision if there is not enough probable cause to make an arrest.
So for the benefit of counsel that might not be familiar with it, you as the officer investigate the case. Once you believe that there's sufficient evidence, you go to a magistrate or municipal judge. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that magistrate or municipal judge has to make a finding that there's probable cause to believe that there's criminal activity going on.
Yes, yep, they have to issue the arrest warrants after reviewing all the facts that we have.
And did you do that in this case?
I did, for each one.
And ultimately, did the judge sign an arrest warrant?
They did, yes.
And what were the charges that were?
The initial charges were distribution of marijuana based off the sale for each defendant, and then distribution of marijuana within close proximity to a playground or park.
And did you effectuate, did you make an arrest?
I
once
did.
You got those warrants?
Yes.
When you went to make the arrest warrant, did you also seek a search warrant?
I did, yes.
Why'd you do that?
Based off after confirming that the substance that was being sold was in fact illegal, it was reasonable to believe that there was more in there, being that I had firsthand seen it.
And again, can you just sign your own search warrant?
No, you cannot.
Did the judge,
Yep, all the facts were presented to a judge, put before them, and they signed a search warrant for the business.
now, once you, just tell us in your own words, once you executed the search warrant, did you find anything that you believe to be significant?
Yeah, we found a large quantity of green leafy substance, including marijuana. We found down paperwork indicating that the THC analysis on the substance they had was significantly higher than the 0.3%. There were vacuum sealed bags with percentages written on it ranging from 30+%. But then when when the spring leafy substance was being broken down in smaller packaging, they would reflect a much lower THC level.
Well, okay, well, walk us through that now. You spoke kind of quick. So
Okay.
your investigation uncovered packaging coming from California, is that right?
Various states where marijuana is legal.
Okay.
Yes.
And in that packaging, did it contain or did it display what the THC levels were?
Some of them did, yes. They were,
And on those that did, were those levels significantly higher than?
significantly.
And based on your investigation, did it appear to you that lack of a better term, that out-of-state marijuana was being repackaged and sold here at the Delta dispensary?
Yes.
And that once it was repackaged, did it purport to be hemp, or at least imply that it was otherwise legal under South Carolina law?
Yes.
Okay. And in just a moment, show you number of. In this case, the search warrant, you take photographs of the evidence.
I didn't take the pictures. Our investigator would have taken that for me and then uploaded them to the system. But I was
Were you present?
Yes, I was there and I reviewed
Did you
everything.
identify what was there and what you saw?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to have you take a look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 photographs and see, are those those photographs of the bundles and the packaging that were taken at the Delta dispensary when you executed the search warrant?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Court Reporter, Mr. Mark, these will be, can we do them collectively just as one? Okay. These. Thank you, ma'am. All right, now, just for expedition's sake, I'm just gonna, you're familiar with all.
Yes.
Okay. So we're just gonna talk about this briefly. I'm gonna hand these to counsel for review while we're discussing. All right. Now, tell us, again, generally, the substance of what counsel is looking at.
There's various pictures there, but there's some. The first one is a heat sealed bag that contains a green leafy substance, leaf marijuana. And on the outside of the bag, it's got a 32%, which would indicate its THC level 32%.
Let me stop you there. Is that your writing or was that the writing that was on?
That's the writing that was on the package.
All right. We also see a number of invoices or shipping documents of some kind that have numbers on them, like 24%, 24.4%. Is that the
So those were,
packaging you're talking about?
yeah, so those were slips or package slips, whatever you want to call them, that were found with the substance or around the substance, indicating significantly higher levels of THC than was being displayed.
Okay. All right. Briefly here. Show you here 3 documents. Recognize these? Excuse me, 2 documents.
So these are the SLED analysis forms, SLED confirming that it's not having marijuana.
All right. Now, we'll do these collectively as number 2. Very good. All right. All right, so, Officer Pinto, the arrest was made, that criminal process is playing out through the judicial system. With regard to one of the reasons why we're here, when you believe that your investigation established illegal criminal activity going on at the Delta dispensary?
Yes.
And you believe it was related to the business?
Yes.
Other than the fact that a substance which is currently not legal in the state of South Carolina is being sold there, is there anything else that gives you particular concern about the conduct that was going on, how it affects the citizens, residents, and visitors of Surfside Beach?
Yeah, so I know the marijuana topic is very controversial, but the issue at hand is there are some people that are buying this substance, believing it to be legal and lawful, and then they're taking it out in society, and then they're openly carrying it or doing whatever with it. then they're subject to criminal consequences. Let's say the police encounter them, let's say they get pulled over, or they get stopped, whatever it may be, what they think is legal and lawful is actually not, then they're subject to the criminal process if they're charged.
So your investigation indicated that the dispensary was representing what they were selling as being within limits of South Carolina law?
Yes.
Right? And your investigation indicated it was not, right?
Yes.
All right, and so somebody that was going in believing that they were purchasing something that was legal, could in fact be unknowingly subjecting themselves to criminal liability. Right?
Yes.
They could also be, if it was somebody that was believing they were purchasing something which was legal, they could fail like a company work drug test.
Yeah.
Right? Certainly THC levels of that range would be in violation of the usual drug test, right?
Yes.
How about with regard to minors? Is there anything that would be restricting minors from going into? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, they would have the potential to essentially go in there and buy what's marijuana.
Anyone in over? Please, calm it down. There's no comment.
So when you went inside, did you observe anybody that appeared, at least to you, to be under?
During surveillance, there were younger age people that went in, but there's no confirmation of their ID.
Right. I mean, to be fair, you weren't checking IDs or that sort of thing. Okay. All right. I'll spend anything else with regard to this particular investigation and the revocation of the license that you think so?
No.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I don't have any further questions.
All right, thank you very much. You wish to cross-examine?
I just have a couple questions. Can I come up?
State your name and address.
My name's Jason.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, feel compelled, obviously, the business owner had the absolute right to ask any question he wants to in the sharing. However, as an attorney, I do feel compelled to inform him that since there are criminal charges pending, that certainly this is on record.
Yes.
There is a court reporter that certainly that's something that could potentially be used in any future.
I understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you aware of any other stores?
I didn't get his.
My name's Jason Plato, I'm one of the owners of Delta Dispensary. Are you aware of any other stores selling similar products?
It's irrelevant, I don't want to comment.
Again.
Okay.
Please.
All right, well, look, I have some samples that I purchased in the past 2 days from other stores that I'd like to show the town council, just so you can see what's going on here really in the town. I feel like we've been singled out. It seemed like maybe because we drive nice cars or we have the best business in town that we were focused on. I went to 7 or 8 different stores in the past 2 days, and it's over 1%, right? Is that what you said? I don't know, 1%? I understand what we're saying. So let's see. Everybody knows your CBD store here, right?
That's outside of our jurisdiction.
Okay, that's okay, though, it's only right up the street. So that's a green leafy substance, actually it's purple. What's the percentage say on that one?
This one is.
Mr. Mayor, I'm object to my.
The attorney is allowed to object.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, what other businesses may or may not be violating, particularly if they're outside the jurisdiction of the town.
I have some that are in jurisdiction, I have a store.
Complete the objection.
Okay,
Again, whatever, if other businesses are violating or not violating, then that'll be a subject of some subsequent investigation, but it's not relevant as to what happened in this particular.
All right, well, one thing that is relevant is the store that's right next to us. There's a store a foot away from us, okay? Let me just show you. I'm not gonna bust that in. This is Up and Smoke Shop, okay? We recently had to get, sorry, we had to get our sign replaced because of the storm. So this was their old sign. They had it changed and intentionally added THC dispensary to it. And I'm sure that wasn't approved by the town council, right? I doubt it, right? All right, so let's see, today. This was purchased from their store. There's the receipt, Up and Smoke, $46. Some wedding cake. What's the percentage on that?
It says 29% cannabinoids.
29%. So how is this different? You know, why have we been singled out? There needs to be consistency, like nobody can sell it.
Okay,
The microphone.
I'm gonna have to rule on this objection. So that may be, and that may be something we need to look at before, but it is not any bearing on your case.
Right. I understand that. But I just wanted everybody to know that, you know, we've been, you know, everybody thinks that we're out there selling marijuana, and it's not. We're selling marijuana. Marijuana is even cheaper to buy than THCA. I'm not here to explain the intricacies
Okay.
of THCA.
This is your cross-examination of the witness.
Yes, but that's what's going on. You know,
And it's inappropriate for me to comment on any investigations that may or may not be going on in other businesses.
yes. What led you to investigate our store in the beginning?
Specifically, like, I don't know if you were here for the beginning, in fact, I think you missed it.
Yeah.
But over the course of several years, people have frequently said, more often than others, that, you know, we catch them with a substance. We believe in marijuana and may come back as marijuana.
Right.
They have frequently said that they purchased it from the Delta dispensary.
Yes.
And, you know, when people are reporting something to the police department over and over again,
Yeah.
we need to do our due diligence to at least look into it. And then after looking into it, we conduct our investigation. And then what comes from that investigation is how we make our decision moving forward.
Okay, I understand. I think that's it. I think that's all I got. That's all I
Thank
got.
you very much.
Thank you.
Very good file, what was just on the subject matter.
Very well.
So that,
You may redirect.
with regard to what prompted you to identify Delta Dispensary for, as a law enforcement officer in Surfside Beach, do you maintain communications with federal law enforcement authorities?
We do.
Do you often keep each other abreast of different investigations that may be going on?
Yes.
At some point, did you receive information from federal authorities that pertain to the Delta Dispensary?
Yes, so the federal agencies, three-letter agencies, had communicated with me, expressing that they've seized inbound packages to the defendant of substance that they believe to be marijuana.
And with regard to anything, without divulging the specifics, any specific investigation that may be going on, would you welcome any further information from anybody regarding any illegal activity on any other
Yeah.
business
Yeah,
operation?
of course, if you want to give us any tips on people that are violating the law, the police department's right over there, and we'll look into it like we would anybody else.
No further.
Thank you, Mr. Bouchette. Do you wish to recross?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Bouchette, your next witness?
Just call Nicole Kinsey.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You can put your hand down, state your name for the record, and spell your last name.
Nicole Kinzia, Kindzia.
Ms. Kinsey, where do you work?
Town of Surfside Beach, I'm the business license official.
And very briefly, what is a business license official?
We make sure that people are in compliance with their business license when they're coming into town. Basically what has to be done to get the license and renew it every year. As long as they're doing that, then we're all right.
Now, you were present in the auditorium when Mr. Pinto just gave his testimony, is that right?
Yes,
Okay. At some point, did you learn of the results of Mr. Pinto's investigation?
yes.
Okay. What action did you take upon learning?
When I was told of that, I did send out a notification immediately to suspend his license.
Once you became aware of the allegations and the results of it, you gave notice to the business owner, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And on what date did you provide the notice?
September 13th.
And was that subject to ordinance 4-15?
Correct.
And is there a specific subsection that pertains to this particular case?
I'm sorry, say that.
Was it subsection E that pertained to this particular
Yes,
case?
correct.
And that means that you're entitled to suspend or revoke a license if the licensee is engaged in an unlawful activity or nuisance related to the business. And did you think the facts of this case were sufficient to warrant a suspension and possible revocation?
Yes, I did.
Under our ordinance, does the business have a right to a hearing such as the one today?
They do.
And how long do they have to request it?
They have 10 days.
Okay. And after they request it, how long does our ordinance say that they can, that you are obligated to provide a hearing?
We have 30 days to get it complete.
Okay. And is this hearing done within 30 days?
It has, yes.
Anything else that you, well, let me ask you this. As the business license official, do you believe that the information uncovered from Sergeant Pinto's investigation substantially affects the health, safety, and well-being of the town of Surfside Beach residents and their visitors?
Yes, I do.
And are you requesting that council vote in favor of your request to currently revoke the business license?
Yes, I do.
No further questions?
All right, thank you. Do you wish to cross-examine the witness?
No.
All right, thank you very much. Step down. Any other witnesses?
No, sir.
All right, then we'll move to the case for the business licensee. Do you have any witnesses to come?
Does anybody want to say anything?
This is not for public comment.
Okay,
This is-
okay. I understand. No, I do not.
Okay. All right. Okay, in that case, the evidence portion of this hearing is now concluded. Each side may now present a very brief oral summary statement of the position, starting with the attorney for the town business license official.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, very briefly, again, we're not here to comment sort of on drug policy across the board or anything other than that. I think what you've heard from Sergeant Pinto that concerns himself most relevant to this proceeding is the fact that it appears that residents, visitors, and others would have been subject to unknowingly engaging in criminal activity, taking a substance which was not legal. That means you can be losing jobs, you can be losing licenses. I'm thinking things like commercial driver's licenses, things along those nature. That is sort of that's kind of a fraud upon the public. I mean, that is representing it. So I think with regard to this particular hearing, that is what certainly concerns both the witnesses that you've heard from, and on that basis, we ask that you go along with their request.
All right, thank you very much. So now on to the business licensee. Would you like to present a summary?
Yes. I would just like to say, thank you to all these people that came out here for it today. I really expect for us to get, to win the appeal. So I'll just retract my appeal, actually. I'm sure these folks wouldn't mind driving 5 miles up the road to our new court. I would like to leave this with you though, Mr. Mayor. These are some testimonials from our customers here, and I really suggest that you read them just to see what these people, how they feel about, these are your townspeople. All right, okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, the argument portion of this hearing is now concluded. Town council will decide whether or not the decision of the business license official should be upheld and the business license should be revoked. The Freedom of Information Act does not provide for an executive session for the purpose of deliberating or discussing decisions of this type of hearing. This means that any deliberation or discussion by the council concerning the revocation decision must be an open public session. The open public session will be recorded and the transcript of the recording will be part of the record should there be any further appeal to the courts. At the conclusion of deliberations, I will entertain a motion to either uphold the decision of the business license official to revoke the Delta Dispensary business license, or a motion to overrule the decision of the business license official and grant renewal of the Delta Dispensary business license. Council members, is there any discussion before proceeding with the motion? All right, I'm going to start discussion then. It's a very serious issue as the business owner is facing the loss of his license to do business in Surfside Beach. On the other hand, town council has been presented with evidence of criminal activity in violation of our ordinances, potentially endangering the public and jeopardizing the integrity, image, and culture of the town of Surfside Beach. We cannot decide this issue lightly. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say? No, council,
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Kinkin.
this has been a hot topic. South Carolina's bounced it around. They won't pass it. And rightfully so. And for someone to endanger citizens in this town, visitors and citizens, is just hard to believe. And I'm glad this is coming to a head and we can do something about it.
Are there any other comments or deliberations from council? Very well, this concludes the deliberations and discussion of the case at hand. I will therefore entertain a motion to uphold the decision of the business license official to revoke the Delta Dispensary business license or to overrule the decision of the business license official and grant renewal of the Delta Dispensary business license.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Coleman,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the department's request to revoke the business license of the Delta Dispensary.
Second.
all right, we have a motion and a second. Since we've had our deliberations, they are over, I'm now going to go directly for a vote. The motion on the table is to uphold the decision of the business license official to revoke the Delta Dispensary business license. Ms. Medina?
Mr. Stamey,
Yes.
Mr. Coleman,
Yes.
Mr. Walls,
Yes.
Mr. Cracklaw,
Yes.
Mr. Kinkin,
Yes.
Ms. Fallon,
Yes.
Mayor Kraus.
Yes, the motion is unanimous.
Of course they are.
Town council is required by the business license ordinance to issue a written decision. Order, I am requesting the attorney for the prevailing side, the town of Surfside Beach, to prepare and submit a proposed written decision for town council consideration by close of business Wednesday, October 17th, in order to be included in the agenda for the regular town council meeting scheduled for Tuesday, October 22nd. At that time, town council will meet again in open public session for the purpose of voting to approve the submitted written decision and to sign the approved written decision. I'm now calling for a motion to adjourn this hearing. Please remain seated until dismissal.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Walls.
Make a motion that we proceed, that we, excuse me, adjourn this session of the town council.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. The motion carries. I declare this hearing ended, subject to council reconvening in open public session on October 22nd, 2024, for the purpose of voting on approval of a written decision and signing same. Thank you all for your time. The meeting is now adjourned and all are dismissed.